Going to have a go at modeling up a plywood desk. This is designed for CNC. We're just going to do a basic leg first and see what we can add to that. I always like to look at when I start a new sketch where I'm modeling. So as a new part, we need to choose the plane that we model on. If it's going to be a desk and it's going to be the side, you want to try and choose one of the sides. So this is the right view. So I'd choose that one there. So it's sitting in the right orientation to start with. Next thing I'm going to do is do a rectangle to the size of what the legs are going to be. I selected line type construction line. So it's going to be a dotted line here. Now I need to know the overall height of that leg. So it's going to be the leg height minus the thickness of the top will equal the overall height. So if I want my height of my project to be 720, and it's a 15 mil top, I'm going to put in here 705 millimeters because that will equal overall the size that we want. So I haven't really put much thought about the measurements, but we can come in and change them later. The next thing I'm going to do is the overall width of our project. So from the bottom here to the bottom at the front of the leg, there might be some overhang, so overhang the back a little bit and overhang the front. So let's think about 500. Don't want it too deep a desk. So our project will sit in there. I like to press escape and bring my measurements down to the right point, just so we can easily go in and modify them later. So we can't extrude that yet. We need to draw the profile in here now. You can see this project here's got a very straight back leg and it kicks out a little bit at the back. It's just slightly hidden in there. So what I'll do next is I'll come in and I'm going to start kind of here. This is a straight leg. Press escape and turn off my line type as construction. So up, and then it's going to kick out at the back like that. We can move these still, so nothing's connected in properly yet. It's nice to be able to do that, especially when you're making like a project like this, which is meant to be aesthetically pleasing. A line to the top, you can see that that's gone black now, so it's not the dotted line. I'm going to come down straight, and then I'm going to come out. So I'm just trying to block it in roughly to what I see at the moment. So I'm not really designing, I'm just copying this one. This one here, I've decided to do it slightly different, so I'm going to delete that line and I'm going to just come down slightly and then over. Because I don't want to round this top edge, but I want to round this one later. Now, the next thing that would be logical for me would be to put a construction line in between those 2 points there, and then with my horizontal constraint, I'm going to click that, and that kind of like levels things up. Next, I'm going to put in a little flat there. Sorry, I still had construction lines on, so I'm going to Control Z until I undone that, and I'm clicking there, and we'll go up. So you can see as I pivot around, the parallel constraint automatically connects. There are those two little lines in here. I'm going to go straight like that, and now you're getting those smart constraints pop up. I'm going to come straight down, and then I'm going to join the two at the bottom. That will go dark blue because it's been our profile. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this kind of internal part here. You can still move that until you got the parallel constraint. If you don't get the parallel constraint, you can block it in, and then we can add the parallel constraint to those two there, and that still moves there. So we're going to use this one called collinear, and we're going to use the collinear constraint between those two. So now those two move together. Those two don't move together, so we can use collinear in there too. The last thing that I would do for this as a sketch would be to go into the dimensions, and I'm going to click between those two lines. Now I'm not too sure what this is going to be like, so let's try 80 mil. We can come back in later. I've just noticed on this here, what looks good is it tapers down from thick here to thinner here. So I'm going to delete both of my parallel constraints. It's still collinear though. I'm going to delete the measurement here, and I can do this here. So from this point, I'm going to click point to point. We'll draw point to point down the bottom. So let's say it's 70 wide at the bottom, and then point to point 100 wide at the top. And then we'll do the same to this side here. So I need to delete my parallel constraint here. Let's see what that does. I'm going to delete this constraint and this constraint, and I'm going to put the collinear back on between those two. Now, so that angle's there, so we're going to click from the top to there. Doesn't like it, press escape, try again. Let's say 70 at the bottom, and let's see if I can get this one to happen this time, 100. So we're looking pretty good here. Let's think about what size we want this one here. We can put this in as a construction line again, just so this is horizontal across. And then we can dimension how far down that sits. Let's say 30 millimeters. That's going to give us some structural support. We can perhaps move this up a little bit. So 600, let's say 620. And I'm pretty happy with that design for now. Generally you have this little overhang here, so it would clear a skirting board on the bottom of a project, so sorry, the back of your project. So let's say 460. You don't need much overhang there. And let's finish that sketch and see what that looks like in 3D. I'm going to go 15 millimeters. It doesn't look much, but that's the size plywood I've got. We'll have to check what other type of plywood we've got as well. And then I'm going to go in and use the fillet tool to fillet the edges. So this one here and the back is a very generous radius. So let's say 50. Let's go 100. That looks pretty good to me. And then the rest we can probably make them the same. So you can see a very small radius on the bottom. So we made this 70. So let's say, oops, 30. So we'll make all the bottoms the same. Let's say 20. And then all the internal and external fillets for the rest, I think, should be pretty much the same to these ones here. So I've made them 40. I'm not sure if that's going to look good or not, but maybe less. It looks a little bit, yeah, that looks better to me, so I'll change it to 20. That's how I would draw the side of the leg. We need to make sure we save that component, and then we can duplicate it when we put it into assembly. The last thing I probably need to do is think about where it's going to connect to these screw supports with the structural strength. So we can do that as we start to assemble. We can come back and edit this one.